I know this video is super choppy, and I'm just doing what I can here to make a little video. I did not take the oil pan off. I just don't have the time to mess around with that again right now. If you have a lift or have more time, I would definitely recommend doing it. I mean, that's going to be the right way to do it, is to take the oil pan off and do that. I was able to get that bolt out there. It is a royal pain to do, but I was able to get it. And then you just pop the oil pump off. I ended up, once I cracked it loose with the wrench, I was able to take a magnet and little needle nose pliers and turn it out. I mean, it's a pain, but I got it. It's probably going to be a pain to get it back into, but whatever. We'll deal with that when I get to it. I have the timing marks are close to lined up. It did must have skipped a tooth when it broke the tensioner. So there's the one timing mark on the cam gear. And then I don't know if the camera will pick that up. There's a little dot right on the crank. You can kind of see right on that one tooth. So you're supposed to line those up according to the books. You can see they're off by a tooth. So we'll have to adjust that and put the new chain on. But yeah, that's as far as we are right now. Yeah. I started taking the bolts out of the tensioner already, but you got to get the chain off to get the tensioner off anyway, so I decided to hold on with that for now. So the cam gear has a little dowel pin here. You should just be able to slide it up off of there. And then I did order, or I have a new OEM tensioner and OEM chain, so I'll get those all put on. If the O-ring down here looks bad at all, replace that, or if you damaged it. I just put that on when I did the oil pan last year or whatever, so that should be good. And then start putting her all back together, I guess. So let me get the chain changed over and we'll be back. And to do that, you'll just have to pop the cam gear off. So I'll do that and get the new chain on. Alright, we're back. I got the new timing chain installed around there. I got the bolt back in. The bolt for the cam, it's torqued down to 55 foot-pounds according to my manual. I got the oil pump back in. That bolt underneath for the pickup was a bear to get back in right. Like I'm pretty sure I said before, if you got like a lift or you got extra time, pull the oil pan off. It's just going to be so much easier than fighting with it. But I don't have the time to pull the oil pan off, and it still took me less time with fighting with it than what it would have if I would have pulled the pan. So I just did it this way. So I got those 4 bolts in. Obviously, the tensioner's in back there. The chain, there wasn't any odd colored links or anything to line up. Like I said before, you just got to line up. There's a mark on the cam gear and a mark on the crank pulley there that you just line up at the bottom. One's at 6 o'clock, one's at 12 o'clock. Line those up, and I did spin it around quite a few times, make sure nothing got bound up or anything like that. So it all seems good. Turned over nice and smooth. So I'm going to put a dab of was it Permatex Ultra Gray silicone RTV stuff down in the corner here, and in the corner here where the timing cover is going to meet the block and the oil pan. I recommend to put a little bit down there. So I will do that, and then I will start hopefully getting this stuff all bolted down and be good to go. That's going to be the next step. I did get a new front cover here for mine, because I'm pretty sure I mentioned in the one part of this, or if it is a whole video or whatever, that when I was messing with the cam sensor, I'm pretty sure I scratched the inner surface where that goes in, and so I'm pretty sure I scratched that because I had a little oil leak coming out of there. So the new cover is only, I think it was $40, so I mean, not too expensive. I didn't want to buy a new one, but whatever, I'd rather have put a new cover on, make sure it doesn't leak, than put the old one back on and have it keep leaking. So let me grab that, and I'll get the part numbers for that, and I'll grab the bags for the tensioner and the timing chain, that you can see the part numbers for them. So I will be right back with those. I'm not sure I put the bags for the timing chain and the tensioner, but I'll put a link for them down in the description for the part numbers and where I got them from. Here's the timing cover. That's the part number there. And then I got the felpro gasket kit. Part numbers there. But for the water pump gaskets and timing cover gasket. It has a new gasket for the inner seal. If you're not, like this one came with a new inner seal here, so I'm not going to mess around changing that up with this one. I'll just leave it the way it is. So I will get that RTV'd and then bolt the cover on and leave it sit for a while. I did clean off the block there. I used a scraper and brake clean. Did that last night. Took me, and I was probably cleaning it for a good hour. Maybe not quite an hour, maybe 45 minutes. Trying to get it as clean as I could. Then I let that dry off overnight. And then I'll let the RTV sit a little bit here before I put oil and stuff back in it. So let me get that done, then I'll take another picture of it. Alright, got the timing cover is on. We got the new gasket installed behind that. I did put a little bit of that Permatex Ultra Gray down in the corner where the two sides meet, or actually three, I guess. Got all the bolts torqued down to specs. They are 18 foot-pounds. The only one that I couldn't get torque wrench on was the guy over here by the AC compressor. I just couldn't get a socket in there. And so I just tightened that one down with a wrench as close as I could get it by feel. So that is that. I will pull the cam sensor and that bracket out off the other one, install that there, and the bracket bolts on down there. And then I'll probably get the water pump put in yet, and then I'll leave that silicone to dry up overnight a little bit, and then I'll start putting oil in it and good to go. I do have to put the harmonic balancer on it. I need to either get the tool to do that or go get a piece of ready rod and make my own tool, which I'll rather just do that. It'll be A, cheaper, and B, I just don't need to order a new tool that way, I guess, because that's all it is, just a piece of ready rod with a nut on it. So but I need to go to the hardware store and get those. So yeah, I will do that, and don't have too much left here then. So alright, I'm about to put the harmonic balancer on. I have the tool installed for it. I did end up ordering one because I was looking around trying to find the ready rod, and it ended up being cheaper just to order the tool than what I could get the ready rod for. So I just did that and got it off Amazon, so I'll show that later. I mean, it's all it is a piece of ready rod and two washers and a nut, so pretty straightforward, simple. I mean, you can make it up if you have that size. It's M16 by 2 thread, and then yeah, just a nut and stuff. So that's pretty straightforward. If you're gonna do a lot of it, I know you can get little truss bearings. I'd probably put one of those in there instead of one of the washers, but for just every once in a while, for the one time I need it for here and probably at some point in the future, this will do just fine. So it's a 24mm nut on there, so I got a socket. I'm just going to use that and my 1/2 inch drive ratchet and kind of crank it down real slow. I did lubricate the threads of the tool there, and I put some oil on the crankshaft and on the seal. Yeah, you're not going to be able to see it behind there, but I put a little bit of oil on there just to help it hopefully slide in nicer. I do have the camshaft wiring and the sensors up in there through the pulley. You can see it. I did install all that stuff already, so that is all done. So let me do that, and hopefully it pushes on nice and easy. And then we'll be back with the water pump and the rest of this. Alright, we got the harmonic balancers in. Pressed in real nice and easy. I was just using my ratchet the whole time, 1/2-inch ratchet. Went in nice and smooth. Here is that tool. As I said, very simple thing. The only thing I could see is if the threads that go into the crank are either a little dirty or get a little boogered up after a while, you might have a hard time getting it in. You might need to get a second nut and put 2 nuts on in order to get the thing to spin in right or come back out, because what I did is I just grabbed the threads with my fingers and spun it in and out. But if it gets a little boogered up, you might not be able to grip it good enough. So maybe if you put a second nut on, you'd be able to actually use a wrench to get it in and out. But I don't think that should be a problem unless you, like I say, either have the threads real dirty or booger them up or something. But I got the crank bolt is in too, got that torqued down. I took a couple pictures of the torque specs page in my manual, so I'll try to put them in at the end so that people can actually see it and know what to use. I just reused my bolt. I don't know, looked fine to me, so I don't think the threads are stretched out or anything on it. There was some angle. You had to torque it to, can't remember what angle now it was, but I do have an angle meter here, an angle gauge. I'm sure there's a bunch of videos on YouTube if you need to learn how to use one of these. I've used it a couple times maybe since I bought it, but something that's nice to have, I guess. I mean, you can always just judge. You can put a little mark on the bolt and then just guess. But I got one of these, so it's easy enough to do. So next is just going to be the water pump, I guess. That should be everything. Get the water pump put in. I got new gaskets for that, obviously. And then connect the hoses back up and get the belts on, and that should be pretty much good to go. Yeah, I'll probably clean the pulleys off a little bit. I see the one pulley over here's got a little bit of gunk in the ribs there, so I'll probably take a little pick and clean them out too, just to help my belts not squeak. So yeah, I guess that's pretty much it for now. Here's, I don't know how well you can see, there's just a little bit of gap in between the pulley and where that seal is, which is what the old one was. They had a spec for it in the book, but I can't remember what it was. A couple 30 seconds I think is all it was, so hopefully it seems good. I just snugged it down pretty good and just left it like that. I didn't really crank on it too hard. But one thing with this tool here, you got to make sure you have it threaded all the way in so that the pressure's on the back of the crankshaft hole instead of on the threads. Otherwise you might start stripping threads out if you have to push real hard. I mean, I don't think you would because it didn't go in that hard, but I guess that's always a possibility. So alright, let me get that water pump going. What was there, 6 bolts or something like that? It's all 6 10mm head bolts. Get that put in and we'll go from there. I did already clean off the holes around it so that it's got a nice clean surface to mount to. I did that when I cleaned off the spot for the timing cover, so let me get that done and I'll be right back. Alright, let's kind of wrap this up, I guess. I got the belts all back on, everything's put back on. I got my no spill funnel over there. Trying to get the coolant filled back up and make sure it's bled out right. That thing works pretty good. I did just start the engine. Everything seems to be working great. So I'll start it for you just so you can hear it and we'll be good to go. Let's see, I need the keys. So, pops right off. Good oil pressure and everything yet. It's not good. My one tire's low. I gotta fill that up. But yeah, I got 182,000 on the clock. So I do still have a check engine light because I have a evap code I need to figure out later. I suppose I could plug the little scanner in here and show you that the other code is gone. Quick, if I can do it before the phone dies. I don't know if I will or not. Here, I'll pause it quick and then I'll pull that up. Alright, here's the only code I got stored in it right now. So the other code is gone. So hopefully if you like these videos, just check out some of my other ones and stay tuned. Thanks. Alright, here are the torque specs for everything. I'll just make a little short video on this part since I said I'd try to put it at the end here. I'll just kind of scroll down slowly and hopefully people can pause it if they need to. Go over here, take my sticky note off. So yeah, this is just what I was going by for all the oil pan stuff and front cover and just all that, cam shaft, bolt, crankshaft. I'll go over everything one more time here. Hopefully everybody can see it. It looks like it's coming across in the phone screen here, so hopefully if anybody needs any of these they can just pause the video and look at them and write them down. So I'm just going by, it's got the Haynes manual here that I just picked up for my truck. So thank you for watching all this. I'll probably have one more part just where I take my little scope out and get a new waveform on the can and crank and see if I can see any difference or anything, and I guess we'll just see what happens. I've been driving the truck for about a week now, and everything's going great. It's not, I've looked over the cover, nothing's leaking oil, it all looks great. It's running smoother. I mean, I didn't think it was running very bad before, but it is running smoother now, you can tell. And I did actually get another about 1.5 miles or so as of now of better gas mileage according to the little computer in the truck. So just figured I'd make this quick little addition here, and stay tuned for that last part of this, and hopefully everybody learned a little bit of something. Anybody has any questions, put them down below. I'll try to answer everything. So thanks for watching.